So would you look at that? I just come off my Facebook page because I was talking about the soap opera drama, and somehow I ended up on this right here. Why the news is not the truth. This article was written in 1995, Harvard Business Review. The News and the Culture of Lying, How Journalism Reality Works, Paul H. Weaver. Who stole the news and why we can't keep up with what happens in the world. John Wiley and Sons, The Tainted Truth, The Manipulation of Fact in America, Cynthia Crosern, Simon and Schuster. The U.S. Press, hello. The U.S. press, like the U.S. government, is a corrupt and troubled institution. Corrupt not so much in the sense that it accepts bribes, but in a systemic sense. It fails to do what it claims to do, and what it should do, and what society expects it to do. This is a very long article. I can you can see it right here. This is the name. This is where you'd find the link. It's a long article, but I was kind of shocked to see that because it is the truth. The news and media government are intertwined in a vicious cycle of mutual manipulation, myth-making, self-interest. Journalists need crisis to dramatize the news, and government officials need to appear to be responding to a crisis. Too often, the crises are not really crises, but joint fabrications. Too often, the crises are not really crisis, they say. The two institutions have become so ensnared this is really wild. Look at that. Ensnared in a symbiotic web of lies that misleads the public. Just like Elon Musk said, we need a symbiotic relationship with AI. This Harvard businessman, this is what he said. This is what he wrote of the news. They have become ensnared in a symbiotic web of lies and they mislead the public. Is not that the truth? That was in 1995. Fast forward around, 30 years later, and look what it's turned into now. Hello there, Al, honey. How you doing? How you doing, Susan, honey? I'm sitting up here sweating, but it's okay. I can sweat. Feels good to sweat. No, this guy. This is 1995 and did his analysis, and not him, but a lot of other people. They saw the direction this was going. Look at this. Oh, they tell the public the web of lies that the news media are unable to tell the public what is true, and the government is unable to govern effectively. That is the thesis advanced by Paul H. Weaver, a former political scientist at the Harvard University, the journalist at Fortune magazine, and corporate communication executive at Ford Motor Company, in his provocative analysis entitled The News and the Culture of Lying, How Journalism Really Works. And it is true. They're talking about something in the 1980s when they were talking about how they're going to eliminate the federal deficit. And all the while in 1998, they had the drama going on. They drug it out for several years, they said. And all the while, they were spending more money and adding to the deficit. And when they say we're making progress, yeah, they were making progress when they created a new program, but they made the deficit even higher. And they said they're working really hard. The government and the politician and Congress and the Reagan administrations were heroically and painfully struggling to contain the government spending and reduce the deficit. All the while, behind the scenes, they were creating things, and that takes money. Yeah, we got it going on. You're just tuning in. A symbiotic relationship of lies, a symbiotic web of lies. What has enraged? It's a culture of lying. The culture of lying, he writes, is the discourse and behavior of officials seeking to enlist the powers of journalism in support of their goals, and the journalists seeking to co-opt the public and private officials into their efforts to find cover stories in crisis and emergency responses. It's a distortion of the constitutional role of government into what? Into an institution that must be continually resolve or appear to resolve crisis. It's a new and powerful permanent emergency mode of operation. This is really what's been going on. And it has mutated so much beyond then. They also were fighting over the health care too back in, what was it? No, they were fighting over the health care was an issue. They never did come to thing. They never did. They never came to terms with the health or anything, none of it. Much of what appears in the press as business news is corporate propaganda. Corporate propaganda. Look, one consequence of the prevalence of propaganda in the press is that the public's confidence in all institutions gradually erodes. As people begin to realize that they are being misled, manipulated, and lied to, they resent it. They resent it. The people are resenting that you're realizing that you are being misled, manipulated, and lied to, and you resent it. I resent it. That's why you can't believe anything anymore. They literally have turned that into a big old lying machine. Just like it's a disgrace. It really is a disgrace, really. The decline in the confidence reflects a widening feeling that the news media are contentious, they're unfair, they are inaccurate, and they're under the thumb of the powerful institutions. This is in 1989, a 1989 survey by Gallup for the Times Mirror Center for the People in the Press concluded. So Times Mirror Center in 1989, they had concluded the decline in the confidence reflects a widening feeling that the news media are contentious, they're unfair, they're inaccurate, and they're under the thumb of powerful institutions. And it's only continued. It's only continued. Look, from 73 to 93, only Congress fell further in esteem than the press. Wow, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad, you all. This is a really good article to read. I started trying to read all of it on the Facebook. I got halfway through it. My voice got tired. I said, I can't do it. Look at this. Who stole the news? Why we can't keep up with what happens in the world? Because it's been stolen. It's all drama. That's right. Under dramatic long-term trends favor dramatic events. Look at that. Coups and earthquakes, he says, are what the editors want to report. But when reporters try to cover crucial trends taking shape at the normal pace of human events, slowly the editors have trouble packaging them. They don't want you to hear about all that kind of stuff. They want dramatic events. Dramatic. It's got to be dramatic. And people want drama. They're not going to watch something that's boring. They'll say, boring. Give me something that I want to hear. My itchy ears want to hear. I want some excitement. Give me that Vance and give me that Kamala going back and forth. Let me hear more about that Haitian. Let me hear about that. Let's see him spinning that web too. Let's hear her doing it. Let's have them going back and forth because it adds to the drama. It gets our attention, you all. That's what's been going on. All of that right there. Foreign correspondents sacrifice coverage of important and undramatic long-term trends in favor of dramatic events. Dramatic events. Yeah, it's oh my goodness gracious, you all. This is like wild. Yeah, King James wrote the books on the watches. Oh, the witches. Yes, we did a video on that. I did one personally, not too long ago on that. He studied that. They say he studied that to raise awareness, but then you don't touch things like that because, well, you can, but if you're not protected, those spirits from that kind of things are going to get on you. They are. You don't want to dabble in that unless that's what you like to dabble in. They're talking about the Clinton administration too. Look at that, the Clinton administration. The health care reform of the past 2 years, this is way back then, was a turning point in the destructive cycle. Despite a massive effort by the Clinton administration to whip up a sense of crisis, the Clintons, they wanted to whip up a sense of crisis, of the need for urgent reform. And despite the intensive press coverage of the competing proposals and viewpoints, the result has been a stalemate. Stalemate. Because roughly 80% of the U.S. citizens are satisfied with the quality of their present health care. See, they want to do what the people don't want them to do. That's the same thing they're doing now. They want to do what they want to do. They don't want to do what the majority of the people want to do. And they want to put the news out there saying the majority of the people favor this. The majority of the people want this. They want to be the mouthpiece for the majority of the people when they're only the mouthpiece for the hand of the few. Just a few. That's it. For a handful. And they don't want you to be able to open your mouth. They don't. And anybody else has a different opinion, they're not going to give you no news spot. I guess that's why Trump had to make his own news stuff, his news agencies and things like that, get his own Truth Social and all that. Anybody else who wanted to get the news out, they had to go off the mainstream news because the mainstream news is biased and they full of lies. They are full of lies. Why the news is not the truth. Right there. Why it's not the truth, because the journalists and the politicians have become ensnared in a symbiotic web of lies that misleads the public. It's true. It's true. Yeah. We got it. I am going to go, you all. It's now 3:21, but that's a good article to read because it has other articles if you like to read. But if you want drama and chaos and excitement, and you want the adrenaline running through your veins, then don't read it. Don't read it. Yeah, y'all, please give this video a thumbs up because why the news is not the truth. The news and the culture of lying, how journalism really works. Who stole the news and why we can't keep up with what happens in the world. The tainted truth reminds me of the tainted love and toxic love, the manipulation of fact by the fact checkers in America, right? It's true. When did Snopes come out? The Snopes came out and then what? Snopes was created and it got taken over by the fact checkers. Snopes created about it. It's formerly known as Urban. See, they just kept getting a new name. Snopes was formerly known as the Urban Legends Reference, and it is a fact-checking website. It has been described as a well-regarded reference of sorting out. I want to see, why do they cover satire? When did they come about, you? I don't know. No, see, who created them? Who created the Snopes? Snopes or something. Let me get this off of here. I want to know when they came about. 1994. 30 years ago, 1994. The tainted truth, the manipulation of fact in America. 1994. All of this kind of stuff, you all. It's like we have a culture of lying. Is the discourse, the culture of lying, let me read that and I'm going to be ending this. The culture of lying is the discourse and behavior of officials seeking to enlist the powers of journalism in support of their goals and of journalists seeking to co-opt public and private officials into their efforts to find and cover stories of crisis and emergency response. It's a distortion of the constitutional role of government into an institution that must continually resolve and appear to resolve crisis. It functions in a new and powerful permanent emergency mode of operation. That's what happens, the culture of lying. Just lying through their teeth. Yeah, we got to go. I'm going to go, y'all. With that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon, y'all. Please give this video a thumbs up. It's not too long of a video. Yeah, it's a good read. Why the News is Not the Truth, 1995. Love you. Thank you, Al Honey, Susan Honey, and if there's any other moderators, thank you all for your comments.